All right. What is going on? We are back again.
Back again.
How's it going, buddy?
We're going all right. How about you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. So, I guess let's get into it. What do we got for today?
We got a lot of stuff going on in the world of wrestling since we last talked. We have some big returns.
Yes, we do.
We have a somewhat surprising departure,
Yes, we do.
and we have some news that really not sure how to take it just yet. So, let's start with
Don't forget. You forget one thing. One big piece of news.
what's that?
The surprising heel turn on Monday night.
Well, yeah. Um, I think it's the way to go, and that'll lead into one of our big returns. Is that John Cena is back on Monday Night Raw?
Do you think that they pulled the trigger too quick with this? I mean, this is more of a SummerSlam match, not Money in the Bank.
I agree. Um, you know what? This is the problem with there being monthly pay-per-views, is that you could have built this up from Cena's return to SummerSlam, and the anticipation is huge. But they're not going to throw Cena into a match, and I hope to God we don't get like a Cena and the Usos versus the Club six-man or anything like that in its place.
I'm sure we could. We could.
We could very well end up getting that as the way of working around having to do Cena versus Styles.
However,
Mm-hmm.
it seems that the club is going to have their hands full because it looks like they're going for gold.
Yeah, it looks like they're focused on New Day.
Yeah. So hopefully we're done with this club versus family bullshit that we've gotten for the past 2 months now. However, the Roman and AJ stuff was pretty good in
Yep.
ring. They were phenomenal.
Yeah, I think where things are going, I'm intrigued. I think the club is a tag team that legitimately could defeat New Day. They have that credibility.
And you know what? We've talked about it. The New Day doesn't need the titles.
No, they don't.
They could do their own thing, and they just don't need it. But nobody else is good enough to take it. I don't think at this point. I mean, the club and Enzo and Big Cass. I mean, they're over enough, but they still have to get their feet wet.
Yeah, well, Enzo and Cass, I feel like if they're gonna win it, they're gonna win it at a big show. I don't feel like they would win it anytime too soon. I think you got to build them up. Enzo and Cass are over, but let's remember one thing about Enzo and Cass: they never won the NXT tag titles.
This is true.
And it's not to say that they didn't deserve them. They were probably just as over as they are right now, which is saying something. They're the second hottest tag team act in the company, and that might sound like a superlative, but it's honestly, with that being said, they're probably one of the 10 biggest acts in the company right now, right off the bat.
I don't even think there is 10, to be honest with you.
You know what? It's hard to imagine, but you think about, they could be a little bit higher than 10.
Yeah, you think?
Probably. We're going to see New Day. You're going to see AJ. You're going to see Seth Rollins. You're going to see, I think Cena's going to come running out of the gate, especially with his matches with AJ. He's going to be on fire, putting on a clinic right away. You got guys like KO. Genzo and Cass are up there. They're absolutely up there.
Yeah.
Can they beat the club? I don't think they're ready to just yet. I don't think they're ready to beat New Day, but I think
they definitely do have the top two in loudest crowd reactions. I'll give them that.
No, they're killing it right now. You can't teach that.
You can't teach that.
But I think the club can legitimately look like a threat to New Day. I'm excited. I think Cena and AJ are gonna kill it. I just, am disappointed that we'll probably see the rubber match at SummerSlam rather than the opening match of that feud at SummerSlam.
I gotta say, I'm pleasantly, oh my god, surprised that we actually are getting this match, because other than that, it would have been Cena versus Rusev, and he would have destroyed Rusev and made Rusev back to doing nothing. So now they get to give him his push. I don't think the first Cena AJ match should be at a B grade pay per view at all, but at least it gives them something new and exciting to do. And I guess they'll worry about SummerSlam when that bridge, comes. Maybe by then we have Shield versus the Club, which I don't see that happening because Seth and Roman are going at it right now.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's going to be the direction as of right now either. I know that was the direction that was rumored for a while.
But here's the thing: WWE changes their logic on the fly, so
Yeah.
they could feud for 2 months and then maybe go into something. Who knows with WWE? I mean, we weren't expecting the Cena AJ thing, so is it possible? It's possible. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess the only way you could do it is if somebody big enough wins the briefcase and steals the title out of that Rollins Reigns feud,
You know who's winning it.
Well, I think
You both know who's winning it.
You're thinking KO is winning it?
I am.
I'm thinking KO is winning it too. I don't know who KO would legitimately partner up with, though, that would warrant a Shield reunion.
No, that's the thing. I mean,
yeah, I mean, with Cena, it was tough. Like, he had to come out of the gate running out, AJ's a great foil for that. I mean, it's the match that a lot of people have been waiting to see. The face of the WWE versus the face of the rest of the wrestling world in the post Monday Night War era.
yeah.
No, I wouldn't. You can't sell a show on the face of WWE versus the face of TNA, but you could. AJ Styles has been in TNA. He's been in Ring of Honor. He's been in Japan. He has been Mr. Everywhere but the WWE. He has accumulated the record Cena's accumulated. Maybe not to the extreme, but I mean, he has the reputation as being the best guy who's not in the WWE, and this is the best guy who's in the WWE. The match is going to be a killer. I mean, I think we're going to see, amazing work. I mean, if we're seeing Styles and Reigns putting on 4.5-star matches, I can't imagine what these two are going to do together.
Well, that's the funny part about it, is that Cena has that reputation from the fans as the 5 moves of doom, because that's all he does. But that's not true. I mean, for entire 6 months, he stole the show with the United States title, which has recently been made a joke again by Kalisto. So Cena is, without a doubt, the best wrestler on the planet. I don't care. Maybe not in ring. AJ Styles, can match him and do better things in ring. Mm-hmm. But all around talent, you got to give it to Cena. He's the draw. He's the guy.
Yep.
And, it's good to see him back.
Oh yeah, no, I'm excited, and it's the right feud for him. And I'm picking AJ to win their first match. In all honesty, I think he needs it more than Cena.
I hope so.
2 losses in a row to Reigns, and with the way WWE tends to book, like they want to kind of put that shock in people that Styles wins the first one, and Cena would probably end up winning the last 2.
Where do you see this going for SummerSlam, though? Do you see a rubber match, or do you see maybe, I don't know, the club gets involved and Cena gets something involved, and we have just a 6-on-6 match, but maybe they make it cool and give us, I don't know. What do you think? What's your thoughts?
I think they're going with just the standard best 2 out of 3 that they've always kind of done with these things.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do anything too creative. I mean, I'd be fine if they wanted to kick things off, if they wanted to do Cena, Big E, and Kofi versus the club. I mean, to kind of build up to that New Day feud with the club, and do something screwy there where they pull out the win over the faces, but I don't see it happening because why would you want to combine everything in one match when you're going to have two big selling matches?
Yeah.
WWE logic. I think we're looking at an AJ Styles versus Cena part 3 at SummerSlam to kind of not counter, but like kind of complement what we'll probably see is Triple H and Shane, and the world title picture is actually not too set in stone.
No, I mean, and the question is, and we'll get into it later, how many world title matches are we having?
Well, I hope to God only one.
I guess we'll find out.
Yes. But so we've touched on John Cena's return and how this is going to set things up. Seth Rollins is back in the picture, like we talked about.
The man, Seth Rollins.
I don't get what we saw last Monday with him running in and back and forth to mess with Reigns, especially when Seth has dicked him over so many times in the past. What's he afraid of?
Yeah.
I mean, these guys aren't that far apart in size either, even though Reigns is pushed to be like a big badass.
He's really not. He's really not. He is. I mean, I think Seth is probably in a lot better shape than Roman is, to be honest with you.
Well, I mean, yeah, Reigns is almost positioned to, like, you would think he's like a Diesel-sized guy. And in reality, he's 6'4".
Yeah.
Which isn't anything to frown on, but, he's built more like his cousin. He's built more like The Rock. He's not built like a giant, but he's always been booked like one, which is kind of like a strange dynamic. And I just thinking I want to see Seth continue to kind of cheap shot Reigns. I think if Reigns is going to win, they have to bring up the fact that Seth Rollins has always kind of gotten the upper hand on him in every scenario. He's not afraid of Roman Reigns. He's willing to go that extra mile, and he's willing to beat him to death with a chair and break up the Shield. He's willing to snatch away his championship win at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar. He's the man. He's the guy who's not afraid of taking the risk and embarrassing his former brother in arms.
Yeah.
I mean,
how do you see this playing out, though? I mean, does Cena 2.0 continue and Roman picks up the win, or does Seth come back and take what's his?
I don't think Rollins is going to win the title. I think they're set on Reigns having the championship. I think that we're going to see some. I don't know. Like it's hard to say. Like the way I'm going to see it. I mean, if I'm going to make a prediction, I think the title match is going to end up being the Shield triple threat match at SummerSlam.
So Ambrose wins the briefcase?
I don't think Ambrose wins the briefcase. I think Ambrose just finds a way to get into the match. And I'm sure that there's going to be circumstances that come up where he's kind of like shoved in between these two guys. I mean, Roman's still his best friend on screen, and obviously he and Rollins hate each other, and Rollins and Reigns hate each other. It's going to be very easy to slide him into that if they need to. The story writes itself. It's one of the few really, really organic stories in WWE left. With this match, I'm going to give Roman the edge at Money in the Bank. I think he's going to win. I could see, and we're talking about the 2 world title situation. I could see there being The only thing that I'd be okay with two world titles is if, let's say, they have a rematch at whatever the fuck the July show is called. Is it Battleground? Is it? I don't remember. You know, so it fully loaded or whatever they call it. You know, let's say they do some kind of like double pin scenario, and it's right before the draft, and Rollins gets drafted to do a show, and whatever show he gets drafted to, that GM, that owner, you know, Rollins makes the case. It'll probably end up he'll go to whatever show Steph's running. He'll make the case that Seth Rollins is the world champion because he won that match, even though Roman Reigns won it. And even though the WWE recognizes Roman Reigns, they're going to give Rollins his own joke bullshit WWE title. So you have the match at SummerSlam to have an undisputed champion. Kind of like what they did with when Punk and Cena, when Punk won the Money in the Bank title match.
Right.
Ran off, and they had to declare a new champion because they thought Punk had left. I could see them doing something lame like that and teasing the idea that they're going to be two belts, and then they end up just killing it.
I don't want that.
I don't want two belts.
I don't want even the tease. Let it die. That story is so played out. Just let it die. Let it die. One champion. Your guy is a champion for a reason. Make him do both shows.
Well, he absolutely should, but I mean, otherwise, I'm not 100% sure how we would get Rollins into that mix. Although, like, if he loses two matches in a row, I don't know what warrants him getting a third match at SummerSlam.
Right.
And that might be the only way to do it. And I'm willing to fall on the grenade if that's what the case is. I don't want two belts. And, you know, let's talk about that ultimately. The fact that they are going to go forward with splitting up the brands again.
Well, because that's kind of our main topic. Let's just get on that last topic that we talked about. We talked about the arrivals. Big departure from the company this week.
Who's that?
Cody.
Oh yeah, he's gone. So moving along.
You don't want to spend any time on that?
You know what? I was surprised. I don't really know what Cody's got up his sleeve. I think Cody. I think he's a talented guy. I think he's a guy who probably could have been an upper mid card or a main event type of player in the company. I never saw him as a world champion unless there was that split where you had two world titles. Ironically enough. But you know what? I think there's a part of him that's a little self-righteous. You know, I read his notes, I see his letter out there, and you know, I mean, good for him for doing what he thinks is right for his career, but there is a part of him that sometimes is a little bit all hyperbole.
Yeah.
Where he gets it from, his old man was kind of the same way.
Cody was a great in-ring talent, though. I mean, he could easily hang with Cesaro, Owens, Sami Zayn, and the Miz is doing great stuff right now too. He could be easily in that mix, and you really
right now if he wanted to be.
Yeah, well, there was rumors that Cody Rhodes was coming back, and the whole Stardust gimmick was going, and unfortunately, he had enough already, and he was just gone.
Yeah.
Which is sad because now would have been the time to shine. Now that you're going to get, you need the talent now.
Yeah.
And don't try to sell me on like Tyler Breeze or the Ascension or all these guys that you threw down the gutter for 6 months, and doesn't work like that.
No, I agree. I think that there was some missed opportunity with Cody.
Yeah.
I just think that maybe he didn't have the foresight, now that we think about it, to notice that they're going to be making this roster split happen, and he could have had an opportunity to really kind of stand out again. But that's his choice. That's what he's going to do. As far as I'm concerned, the more talented Rhodes brother is still on the roster.
Wow.
And I love Goldust. I think Goldust terribly underrated in every shape and form.
The golden truth.
Yes. Not the best idea, but whatever. Gets him on TV.
Well, they're just trying to recapture the magic of Booker and Goldust from 2002.
Oh yeah, no, they probably are. And R-Truth's great for that retard type of gimmick. He's the best in the business.
He is the man. He's Vince McMahon's favorite wrestler.
That's right. But let's talk about maybe R-Truth getting a second world title run.
Let's book that.
Yeah, one day.
We'll book that after Hardcore Hogan.
Yes, after Hardcore Hogan, after Virgil wins the WWE title at WrestleMania 9.
Oh, well, you know what? We joke around about that, but that probably still would have been a better ending than what we got at WrestleMania 9, which I believe we were actually supposed to talk about on this show, but with the draft coming up, bigger priority right now.
Yeah, no, I think this is a more topical thing. We're definitely going to come back to WrestleMania 9, probably in the next episode or two.
Yeah.
We got some pretty decent outlined ideas to discuss with that, so we're definitely not going to ignore it. I think there's a lot we can look at in that entire 92-93 WWF run anyway, so I think there's some potential there. Hell, the entire new generation could be an entire rebook in itself. But
yeah.
Let's talk right now the big news that SmackDown is moving live to Tuesday nights.
That part I really do like.
Mm-hmm.
I really do like that part.
And we will be seeing the brand extension be brought back into place.
No, that part of the news I wasn't that excited about.
Now there was a rumored leaked listing of potential rosters. I don't know if you saw.
I did not.
It's Reigns and Charlotte will be treated as separate champions. I mean, they will be on both shows.
Well, that's good news.
You know, so it looks like they're going to go in that direction, thankfully. Because I think what we should probably talk about right now is what we liked about the original brand extension and what we did not like. Now, to me, the golden years of the brand extension, I mean, it's pretty much the 2000s. When you get to around 2011, when you get to about the time that probably Christian won the world title,
followed by Mark Henry.
Yes, things started to kind of get blurrier. You know, there was less emphasis on who was on what show. You know, and with Raw going to 3 hours, there was need to fill up more space. And
well, that's going to be a problem.
It is. And I hope that there's some kind of contingency plan where they can maybe even knock off an hour or make it some kind of a pre-show to the week or whatever they want to do, but they're not going to do that.
They can't do that because they're making so much money on sponsorships that why would you cut it out?
Well, WWE doesn't make money off sponsorships.
USA
makes money off of their advertising, their commercial time.
Right.
And, I mean, WWE gets sponsors, yes, but the ad time, they cough that up so they have the TV rights to broadcast. That's kind of always been their way of doing things, unfortunately for them. So, you know, if they want to fill that in, it's still going to get a better rating than fucking Crisley Knows Best or, you know, Mr. Robot or Modern Family reruns. So, you know, I'd like to see that. I don't still think it's realistic. You know, that's the biggest issue is that, you know, how do you split up the rosters? How do you try to treat them as if they're equal brands when one show has an hour more of programming than the other one?
Right, and that's the problem.
You know, it's
I do think it is huge for SmackDown to go live, though.
It is. It is. No, it's the first time they're going to go consistently live. I know they've gone live occasionally in the past, but this is going to be.
And the time that they did go live were big shows.
Oh yeah,
huge.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, let's talk a little bit more about what we thought went okay with the original brand extension, what we liked, what we did not like. So, what was your initial reaction when you heard that they were going to separate the shows, have separate lineups for SmackDown, have separate lineups for Raw?
I hated it.
And why did you hate
it? I never liked the brand extension from the first day to the last day.
Right.
And I was very happy to see it go. I was coming off a time where we had just finished the Monday Night Wars, and it was different. And I don't think at some point they did have the talent to do it, but I think as the years went on and they were still trying to do it, and they just didn't have the talent for it, and the product suffered a lot.
Yeah, no, eventually things shrunk. I think there were two big things that happened. I think for whatever reason, I feel like once Brock left for the first time, there was a humongous shift in the...
He was SmackDown. He was 100% SmackDown. He was the reason to tune in to watch.
Yeah. He was a big reason to watch SmackDown, and for some reason when he left, it seemed like the WWE took focus away from trying to book them as separate but equal, and really made it more where Raw was going to be the entire focal point of the company, and whatever happened on SmackDown was just kind of like extra fun stuff, which was a mistake. I mean, from 04 to 05. Ironically enough, even though this whole time they were trying to focus on Raw, WWE was building up their biggest star for the next decade on SmackDown.
Right.
And, he wins the title, but he wins the title in like essentially a mid-card match at WrestleMania. A very rushed match that was overshadowed by the Batista versus Triple H storyline, which was still great. Don't get me wrong, but... I remember watching one of Cena's earliest DVDs about his career, and JBL arguing how, in retrospect, if things had been booked right with the brands at the time, Cena JBL should have won on last because that was the more definitive title win when it's all said and done. Cena winning the title in retrospect now is a much bigger moment than Batista winning it.
Right.
Batista winning it at the time was the hotter story. From a historical standpoint, it's like Cena winning the belt is that kickoff of a new era, like when Hogan beats the Sheik or when Austin pins HBK. It's that moment where you realize there is a new top guy in the business, and this is his run, this is his era.
I agree 110%. At the time, I don't think it was a terrible decision, only because Batista and Triple H had the better storyline.
They absolutely had the better storyline. I think what JBL was concerned with was because there was so much more booking emphasis on Raw, there was so much more attention to Raw that if SmackDown had been given that 50-50, showing that they had shown them for the first 2 years of the brand split, there was a chance that Cena JBL could have been elevated to be higher than that, and there could have been that sense that this is who the guy is going to be. This make that storyline more compelling, so that should close out the show.
Right.
But there was much more focus on what Triple H was doing, and we won't see, I think, too much of that now that Triple H is almost 50 years old. But I think
the roster is not deep enough for a brand brand split right now. You and I did a mock draft the other day, and
Mhm.
we'll be airing it on this show at some point. But the talent's just not there. It's
Now
not
it's
there for it.
you're looking at like two shows that are going to be like 20, 25 wrestlers deep. And I remember when Raw and SmackDown split the first time. I mean, I think there were at least 30 to 40 on each show.
Right.
Um,
But don't forget, when they did it, they were what, a year and a half from purchasing WCW?
yeah.
So they had all that extra talent that they had just signed.
Hmm.
So we don't have that now. I understand we have NXT guys that were just called up, but like I said earlier, you gave us 6 months of crap with these guys that you called up. You can't expect us to actually care about it now.
No, absolutely. And yeah, it's just that's the dilemma. That's the challenge. Is why are they splitting up a roster that's not that deep right now?
Right.
I feel like everybody's getting on the card that deserves to be on the card now, as it is. So keeping them separate, I don't really see the value of it. Um, you know, with NXT, I think the other thing is that with the amount of exposure that's out there, there is it's a warmer welcome for a lot of these talents than there was when they came up through OVW or FCW.
Oh, absolutely.
And like when you saw Cena for the first time come out and fight Kurt Angle, that was the first time you saw John Cena. He needed to be on a show so that he can establish who he is.
Right.
You needed Batista to do that. You needed Randy Orton to do that. When Enzo and Cass come out for the first time, and they come out in front of a huge mark crowd, that sells itself. Like, they know who they are. They're saying their catchphrases along with them right away, and it
And
catches
it's
on with
fun.
everybody else. There is a familiarity with these guys already. So they're
Absolutely.
already kind of established.
If they were doing all that in FCW and came up to the main roster and started doing it, you would have heard crickets and probably boos their entire first match.
Mm-hmm.
But the NXT exposure was great, and you were joking with me when we did our mock one, and I drafted Baron Corbin. I think the guy's going to be a superstar. I phenomenal talent. These NXT guys are getting good exposure. Right now, he's not doing much. He's jobbing out with Ziggler,
mm-hmm.
but you know, these guys have a tremendous upside, and NXT is giving them that cushion, that stepping stone, the pedestal.
Yeah.
So, but it'll be interesting. I don't like the idea of this draft. I don't think that I don't. You had me when you said you were making SmackDown Live,
Mm-hmm.
and if they were going to do that and it would be continuation of what we just saw on Raw the previous night, that would be awesome.
Oh, yeah.
But we're not going to get that. I just hope we don't get those the two separate pay-per-views. I do not want that at all.
I don't think they'll do that. They corrected that halfway through it because they realized how weak the rosters were. Um, I it's just it was a nice idea and it should have probably died out around 06. I think by then there was enough established talent where you could have. What ended up happening every year was people, after Cena went to Raw. I mean, every year was how do we supplement Raw so we have guys that Cena can feud with,
Right.
and that became very, very obvious, in my opinion. You know, look at 06. Look at 07. In 05, Cena comes over.
And honestly, before you continue with your thought,
Mhm.
I think that was the dagger in the coffin of his whole draft. The minute SmackDown lost Cena, it was over. It was over. SmackDown had no chance to recover.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they did get Batista in the end. And Batista for his first year or two, I mean, was perfectly, I thought, adequate as like your second top face in the entire company. But the shift happened. I mean, the shift happened right there. And I don't know, like, you saw it really kind of take off. In 06, like for no reason in particular, Randy Orton jumps from SmackDown over to Raw. And I think a big part of that is so that he could eventually feud with Cena. Like, that was the year the ECW was established, so they were drafting for ECW only. But out of nowhere, Randy Orton's like, oh, by the way, I'm going to Raw. In 07, you're bringing over guys like Bobby Lashley, who was going to be positioned to be a megastar for the WWE. But they wanted to build up this match with him and Cena almost like it was Hogan and the Warrior. Like these two mega faces that would finally collide.
They did put on a good match, though. I'll give them that.
Yeah, no, it was pretty decent. But it never was going to live up to that hype.
No.
You had the fucking Great Khali even get a shot moving over to Raw so they could feud with Cena.
That is the only good thing to have ever come out in a brand extension was the
Great Khali.
No, not the Great Khali, but the young stars pretty much getting their shot.
Like the Great Khali when he won the World Heavyweight title on SmackDown.
I mean, that's an example, yes.
Of young talent finally getting the chance to shine. Wonderfully great talent like the Great Khali.
All right, maybe I didn't pick the best time to input that that
statement. What a terrible transition. Speaking of great talent, the Great Khali personified everything we could have hoped for with the brand extension.
Hey, when he came in, man, he was a beast. I liked the Great Khali when he first came in. I liked him almost as much as I liked Muhammad Hassan.
Ah, Jesus Christ. Why don't you go, like, fuck the ECW zombie while you're at it? Like, this is bullshit. Like, pure crap, my friend. Like, this is inexcusable.
Hey, Great Khali, man.
Rest in peace to the ECW zombie, by the way. I didn't mean any ill will to him and his loved ones.
Oh, that's right. He is dead now, right?
He's dead. He was a zombie. We should have known all along he's dead.
How could you can't die if you're a zombie?
Well, if you're a zombie, you can't re-die.
Yeah, you've already died. So,
but in real life, the man who played the zombie, he's dead. So, rest in peace to him. He was a wonderful person, from what I understand.
Do you know him?
No, I don't know him, but I'm sure he was great. I'm sure he was a great guy.
Never met him.
Never met him.
But if he was still alive, would you have taken him out for drinks?
Yes, absolutely.
Where would you have gone?
Probably just around the corners of the local Ivy League.
Oh, no, like gentleman's club?
You know what? I don't know how a zombie would have been in a strip club.
I don't know. You know who I would take to a strip club?
Who's that?
Virgil.
Yes, Virgil. Remember, the invitation is still there.
I tried reaching out to him.
He's a legitimate piece of shit, but
no, he's not. He is the man.
You know what, Virgil? How about you come fight me in New Jersey, and then if you beat me, we'll take you out to the strip club.
And the figure poke of doom 2.0.
There it is. Anyway, back to our original topic.
Yeah.
Great Khali was wonderfully established through the brand extension.
Yeah, now, and the only thing that came out of the brand extension was the rising young talent that we got to see witnessed grow.
No, we got to see a lot of guys get opportunity that maybe weren't going to get opportunity, at any other point in time in the company. We also got, unfortunately, I think, overinflation of championship reigns.
Yes.
Which I think fucking sucks. If you look at even the Attitude Era, where the title flipped a bazillion times, the title only flipped between about 5 or 6 fellas through that time. Austin, Rock, Foley, Taker, Triple H, Kurt Angle. Okay, those were the only 6 guys Jericho, we can consider him post attitude, because it happened after. Some people like to say WrestleMania 17 was the end of it. Some people like to say, a little bit later. But when you look at it, I mean, those guys were the predominant champions of the time. I know Big Show snuck in a title win here, but and you want to call Kane's one-day reign.
Yep, he's what, 3-time champion?
What's that?
He was a 3-time champion.
Who's that?
Kane.
No, one time. He had the belt for a day and he lost it.
He won the world title twice.
He won the world heavyweight title.
Yeah.
But the WWE title, I mean, attitude-wise, like those guys, you would be surprised. And you look at it now, you look at the brand extension, what that led to. The guys who have the belt, I think if you looked at it at one point, a third of the roster at one time was a former world heavyweight champion.
Let this sink in for you. Dolph Ziggler is a former world heavyweight champion.
Jack Swagger is a former world heavyweight champion.
Alberto Del Rio is like a 6-time champion.
Right. Sheamus is a 4-time champion.
Then the list goes on.
Right. There is a lot of bullshit.
Christian, a 3-time champion?
Yeah, but Christian's cool. He's all right with me.
Mm-hmm.
Should he have been would he have been the world champion in any other era? No. And that's the difference. People were under the impression that oh, cool, we're going to see him finally get the world title. You know what? Roddy Piper never won the world fucking title.
Right.
Roddy
Mr.
Piper.
Perfect never won the world title.
What's that?
Mr. Perfect never won the world title.
Right. I mean,
British Bulldog.
Right.
Owen Hart.
Razor Ramon.
Man.
Fuck the honky tonk man. Razor Ramon. I mean, you look at guys there, okay?
You have Mark Henry and Ziggler and Swagger and Del Rio and all these guys, multi-time world champions.
Yeah. And I will tell you this. I will bet money on this. With the possible exception of, John Cena, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels, those guys who were world champions during the brand split, you can count maybe 4 or 5 guys on that roster that you could say deserved a world title maybe more than a guy like a Piper did ever, or a guy like Kurt Hennig did. And there are a lot of other guys who just got, like Rey Mysterio's bullshit run. He gets it because his friend is dead and he sucks. And I hate Rey Mysterio to this day.
Me too.
Not because Eddie died. I just hate him because I think he's a little fucking midget. He repeats the same moves. He spams you. And I don't know, he just bugs me. That guy who killed his family had the belt. That was a mistake.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. And we saw a lot of these things. It
wasn't a mistake, though.
No, at the time, it was the feel-good moment, ironically enough. But,
he was good in the ring.
He was. But he...
terrible person.
Oh, yeah. Interesting story. I was talking to my uncle today, and he talked about people he's seen in South Carolina, because that's where he lives now. He said he saw Wade Boggs once, and he said he saw Chris Benoit, and I explained Chris Benoit died 9 years ago. And he said this was before he died, and I was like, oh, okay, I thought you had, discovered, the next Elvis sighting situation, where you're going to tell me Chris Benoit is living out in Myrtle Beach and nobody's noticed this yet.
It's like Tupac.
Yeah, he's faked his death. Anyway, man, that would be a great storyline if there was a wrestler who faked his death and was hanging out with Elvis and Tupac. But
well, I think that's what Vince was going for, but then Chris Benoit died.
Yeah, no, I think. Oh, jeez. That was another great thing in the brand split era. You got stupid fucking storylines like the Vince kills himself story. All right.
I thought that was a great storyline. I don't know what you're talking about.
I thought it was hilarious, but I mean,
I think your alternate ending would have been better though.
Oh, where yeah, no, absolutely.
Go ahead. I don't think the fans have heard that one yet. Go ahead.
Every episode of Raw where McMahon is defeated, any McMahon, should end with them sitting in a room with a glass of bourbon in their hand, saying that it's a cruel world that they live in and they can't carry on any longer. And then they put a gun in their mouth and they blow their head off.
Ratings, bro.
Ratings.
Ratings, bro.
You telling me if Vince McMahon blew his head off on TV, you wouldn't want to know what happened next week?
Oh my God.
And then he comes out at the end like nothing happened, vintage Russo.
Yeah, he's gonna have like the Kenny from South Park.
Exactly.
Line.
You know, one thing the brand split didn't give us was an extra Vince Russo moment, but
that's a shame.
Yeah,
that's a genius.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of things.
What do you think at this moment Owen Hart would say about the brand split?
Oh, I can't do it. Jason Sensation, bro.
What would Steve Blackman think about this brand split?
Well, I'm not very excited for it. Yeah.
Steve Blackman, that should be a show. How to book Steve Blackman's world title run.
Dude, I would watch that. I would fucking watch a podcast where Steve Blackman reviewed episodes of like fucking Everybody Loves Raymond or something. I would watch the shit out of that.
Oh, God. He was one of the greatest of the Attitude Era.
He could have been bigger than Hogan.
He could have been.
Yeah.
He could have been. We should make him that. Bigger than Hogan.
I love it. I remember telling my friend once that next year when the Survivor Series was the Deadly Game tournament, I told him that they were going to focus it all on Steve Blackman next year and call it the Lethal Game tournament, and he totally bought it.
That would actually be pretty sick.
It would have been amazing.
I would have liked it.
Yeah, me too, because Steve Blackman was fucking cool as shit.
Greatest wrestler of our generation.
He very well was, and I heard he once fucking punched Bradshaw in the face in an airport and knocked him out cold.
That I don't like that. I love Bradshaw.
I like Bradshaw too, but I still think it's pretty awesome that Steve Blackman can knock someone the fuck out at an airport, and nobody calls the cops on him. They're just like, whatever, you're Steve Blackman.
Give the Steve Blackman and Al Snow the outsiders gimmick.
There you go.
WWE.
What would you have done if Steve Blackman and Al Snow, Head Cheese, were the actual outsiders all along?
That'd be great. What would you do? What would you do if Steve Blackman was the third man?
Nah, I think Vince closes up shop just out of sheer fear.
I think so too. I think WWE goes under the next day.
Yeah, I think Vince says, "Fuck this! I'm opening up like a Rita's," and he just like closes up the business, and he has HBK manage a fucking Rita's, and he loses his smile when they run out of like lemonade.
Oh God!
And then Brett signs a contract with like Lighthouse, and he's just like, "Fuck this! I'm leaving. I'm gonna work at Strollo's. Go fuck yourselves."
Rita's didn't screw Brett.
That's right.
Brett screwed Brett.
And like that's where this should really go. I mean, like how Steve Blackman affected the business.
He what do you think? Is he a Raw guy, SmackDown guy? Where does he go in the draft?
He's an ECW guy.
Yeah?
I think he's too extreme for Raw or SmackDown. I think we find out on the night of the draft that Steve Blackman is the reason Shane McMahon is back in the mix. Because Steve Blackman has that lockbox that Vince was afraid of having released. And Steve Blackman has proof that he is Shane's father.
Wow, that's pretty epic.
Yeah, and it's just a 35-minute video of Steve Blackman just having hardcore sex with Linda McMahon.
Wow. That would be ratings, bro.
It would be humongous.
I'd watch it.
People would never stop talking about it.
I tell you what, I'd watch Raw.
Yeah.
SmackDown. I'd watch the following Raw and the following SmackDown.
There you go. You see ratings instantly.
4 shows.
4 shows in a row. Who does that these days?
Not me.
Nobody does 4 shows in a row.
But anyway, back to being serious, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
If I could be serious for a moment.
No, that's another guy that thrived in during the brand extension.
He
Remember when they had a Lance Storm was serious gimmick, and then they had a Lance Storm secretly has a big dick gimmick?
Oh God.
That's character development you can only get during the brand extension.
Oh God. Yeah. Say what you want. Lance Storm was the man.
Lance Storm was cool. He was no Steve Blackman.
Nah, Steve Blackman, man. He was cool as an iceberg.
That's right. He was cooler than Glacier.
Glacier, man. He should have been WCW World Champ.
He should have been. He should have had Goldberg's streak. And when Goldberg said, like, hey, I'm coming to win, Glacier would be like, yo, suck a dick, Goldberg, and kick him in the...
David Arquette should have broke the streak.
David Arquette, the only thing he should have broken was... David Arquette should have gone and fuck himself. That's all. He sucks.
It made sense for the time. There was a movie coming out.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, like, are you saying that every time a big movie comes out, a celebrity should win the WCW World Heavyweight title?
Well, The Rock did in WWE. Batista tried to do it. He made a comeback. But...
So, like, in this situation right now, like, if The Rock decided he wanted to do a quick run, okay, and this Central Intelligence movie is coming out, would you do some kind of a bullshit storyline where, like, there's a tag match and Kevin Hart pins Roman Reigns to win the world title? All right, don't answer that because I think a lot of people would actually say they'd be perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, now you're going on a popularity contest. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, if they did Rock, Kevin Hart, and Roman Reigns versus the Club, and all of a sudden Kevin Hart pins Carl Anderson and wins the world title.
Imagine.
You know, like, people would be in an uproar.
People would be pissed. Although Kevin Hart is awesome, so.
But you know, that's
other news. Did you see who they're talking about a WWE career for post NFL?
No.
The Gronk.
Really? I could see that. I think he'd actually be a great fit. He'd be a great douche heel. The only thing they need is Belichick as his manager.
Yes, they should give him a Tom Brady gimmick.
Yep.
Just be the biggest douche in the locker room.
It shouldn't be hard. He learned from the best.
Yeah, he did. And you're right, Bill Belichick.
Yeah, I would totally watch that. I would be okay with Gronk.
All they do is cheat to win.
What happened?
All they do is cheat to win.
Exactly.
That would be amazing. That would sell.
I would watch it, and then Eli Manning comes in every so often and wins the match.
Oh God.
Yeah, Gronk I'd be perfectly cool with. You know, there were a lot of celebrity football bookings. Lawrence Taylor for one.
Hey, do we get I know it's not football, but do we get Big Show and Shaq at SummerSlam?
The rumor I heard was WrestleMania because it's in Orlando.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Pre-show.
I love Shaq. Shaq's cool. I always thought Shaq would have been a great wrestling talent if he ever retired early.
You think Big Show's going to make it to the next WrestleMania?
Yeah. I mean, the son of a bitch hasn't broken down yet.
I haven't seen him.
He was on Raw on Monday.
I must have missed it.
Yeah, he gave Apollo Crews a pep talk.
Maybe I saw it.
Yeah, it sucked. It was terrible.
I don't know. What's with this Darren Young making wrestling great again?
I don't know. Whatever gets backlit on my TV, I'm happy.
I think it's terrible. It is so they're trying so hard to be funny, and it's not funny. It's not funny.
Dude, Backlund is a comic genius. I think he can do no wrong.
I'm not a fan of the skits.
Yeah, You wouldn't know humor if it bit you in the ass.
I want to see. I want to see the primetime players coming back.
Well, it looks like Titus is going after Rusev for the U.S. title.
Yeah, it must be nice to get suspended and go right after the title when you come back.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's Vince fixing shit.
That's WWE logic.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
How hot is Lana right now?
Oh my God!
Yep.
Don't take her off my TV on Monday nights because I don't. I'm not gonna watch their Tuesday nights.
I would not kick her out of bed for eating crackers.
No, and Maurice too.
Yeah, I'll tell you what they should do. They should do a storyline where Rusev and Miz are arguing, and then Steve Blackman comes out and he reveals he's banging them both.
That would sell.
That would sell big. Miz and Rusev's heads explode because they're like, we can't fuck with Steve Blackman, and they forfeit their titles to him.
Blackman just comes out and just plays a sex tape on the Titantron.
That's right. He just comes out and he's like, "Hey, I'm Steve Blackman. Watch me fuck." And it cuts to them all just doing it in a three-way, and
the guy holding the camera takes the camera off his face, points it to him. It's Al Snow.
Oh wow! Head cheese reunites. And and then Rusev and Miz are just like, "Fuck this, we quit," and they hand their belts to.
So they go backstage and they're sitting in the locker room.
Yep.
Rusev and Miz sit down, pour a shot of bourbon.
Yep.
Sit back and say, "This is a cruel, cruel world."
That's right.
Put a gun in their mouth and blow their brains out.
Exactly. And then they're back the next week to feud with Steve Blackman.
Steve Blackman and Al Snow versus the Miz and Rusev.
That's right.
Book it right now.
And then once Blackman knocks them all out, he challenges Roman Reigns. He gets kendo sticked in the fucking head, and he wins the World Heavyweight title.
Done.
Hugest pop of all time is Steve Blackman winning the World Heavyweight title. Because
it's the WrestleMania moment when Seth Rollins won.
No, it's bigger than that. It's like Austin winning the title times Hogan winning the title, times Hogan slamming Andre the Giant, times Stone Cold stunning Vince for the first time, times like CM Punk winning the title in Chicago. Like it's the biggest pop of all time.
Where does CM Punk get drafted in this draft?
CM Punk gets drafted to somebody's video game version of UFC because that guy is never going to fucking fight at this point. I think we need to talk about the biggest heel turn far this week, which was not AJ Styles, but was Captain America, because it turns out in the comics he's been part of Hydra all along.
I did not hear about that.
Dude, it's fucking bullshit. I don't even know where they're going with it, but fuck everything. It ends with Captain America on a plane, and he says, "Hail Hydra."
Really?
Yeah.
You just ruined everything for me, you know that?
It ruined everything for me.
So you're going to take that out on me?
I'm going to take it out on the world, man.
Wow.
I'm asking Tony Stark to suit up and kick the shit out of Captain America for betraying us all.
Next movie.
Yeah. I want Iron Man to fuck up to fuck up Steve Rogers. All right.
We should book it.
We should book Captain America turns heel. Get it. And I'm pissed because Captain America is a face forever.
All right, so the draft.
You can turn Iron Man heel. You can even maybe turn Superman heel sometimes. But Captain America is the good of good.
All right, so the draft.
Yeah.
World title, women's title. We do the tag titles.
Yep.
Are they staying on both shows?
I think that the tag champs, the women's champ and the world champ will all be individual. and that there will be competition on both shows for each of those title holders. I think that the U.S. and the IC title will be split up, and that whoever's like the champion, like the mid card champion on that show, is kind of like a default face of the show, unless John Cena's on the show. But like the IC title is going to be what everybody's kind of gunning for, even though the world champion is there. Even though the world champion is going to be on both shows, you want to move up the card, you got to win the IC title or the US title.
Which I think works.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, with there being both shows, do you think that will hurt guys like Cesaro and the guys who WWE really doesn't believe in to get that world title shot? You think that's going to limit them to only the Intercontinental US title now?
You know what? That's a good question. I don't think so.
I hope.
No, I think eventually we'll kind of see everybody get a shot at the belt, but I hate it. I hate the brand split.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Yeah. Should go back to just wishing Steve Blackman could run wilder than everybody.
Steve Blackman.
Nope.
Maybe. Oh, shit. Maybe it's not a McMahon that's going to run SmackDown. Steve Blackman.
I hope so.
Right?
I hope so. I hope Triple H attacks Shane and challenges him at SummerSlam and thinks he's going to win control of the company. And then here comes Steve Blackman, and he just decapitates Triple H and Shane wins.
That would be awesome.
It would be. Anything with Steve Blackman is awesome instantly. And then Steve Blackman grabs the mic and says, "Hey, Hunter, watch this." And it's Steve Blackman and Stephanie in a sex tape.
Nice.
Because I don't know why Steve Blackman's gimmick now is that he makes sex tapes with everybody.
But why not?
Why not? Because he was the coolest guy ever.
He's a bad mamma jamma.
Steve Blackman, I'm calling you out. You should come on our show one day.
Dude, that would be awesome.
That would be. Steve Blackman, whatever you want. You want steak, you want beer, you want like bears, grizzly bears, whatever. We'll give you
Yeah, we have one of those.
Yeah, we have a human bear.
Yeah, we do.
The legendary TDP.
TDP. Beating up gas station attendants since 1985.
Yep. And then he goes to the strip club for illegal sex acts. No, he's a good guy.
Oh, God.
Because in the words of Abraham Lincoln,
suck my dick, motherfucker.
I don't think Lincoln said that.
You don't know that.
He probably said it once. We just
Oh, TDP.
He's the best. So, yeah, in conclusion, I think we're on the same page. The brand split
sucks.
Not excited for it.
Nope.
One world champion.
Nope.
We don't want everybody and their mother winning a world title at some point in their career.
Nope.
So to sum up, I think we're excited for the Cena AJ program. We just wish it could start a little bit later because we don't want we want that moment where it's a little bit more magical, and that happens at SummerSlam than it happens at Money in the Bank. Yeah, I mean, next week we'll kind of talk more about where we went with this draft, and maybe we can get into the beginning of our rebooking of 92-93 WWF.
Yeah, I think the next one we should talk about how we would book this draft and how we would book the next couple pay-per-views following the draft.
Yeah.
And then either that show, depending if time allows it, or the one after, we could start to look at the new generation.
The new generation versus the new era.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what they're both missing.
Virgil's world champ.
Steve Blackman.
Oh.
Big time.
That too. Both.
Yes.
Me, you, Virgil, Steve Blackman.
Let's make it
At the
happen.
spot.
It's going to happen. It's going to be huge.
Olive Garden for dinner. And then, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Spend some of that fuck money, motherfucker.
That's right. We'll even get TDP in it because he won't miss out on Steve Blackman.
I think he'd go for Virgil.
No, he probably would be more for Virgil. But we shall continue this at a later date.
Yep.
Same time, same channel.
Should we do a top 5 next week?
Yes.
What would you like top 5?
Top 5
draft moments.
Yeah, well, let's go with top 5 draft picks. So we'll pick the year, we'll pick the show, we'll pick the guy.
We both are thinking number 1 right now.
We probably are, yeah. And that's when Raven went to Heat, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. It's going to be huge.
Going to be huge. But, yeah, no, I think we know where this is headed. But I think there are a lot of other big moves that have happened that deserve some recognition. You know, we'll talk about some of the wackiness back then, and hopefully we'll see some, if this is going to be how it's going to be, hopefully they can make the best of it, and they don't make some of the mistakes they made in the past. But this is the WWE. We have full faith they'll be making those mistakes, because if they don't, we don't have a podcast.
Yep. Wrestling Rebook.
Yep.
Wrestling great again.
Indeed.
So, all right. I guess that is it until the next episode, sometime next week. Busy schedule, so we're not going to be consistent. Sorry. So you got to keep checking the Twitter. You got to keep checking the YouTube channel, and you know, we wanted to start you guys off with something, and now next week we will get into this draft thing because it's big news.
Oh yeah,
it's unfortunately the new generation of WWE. So, all right, anything else?
No, I'm good.
All right, so we will see y'all next week.
See you then, kids.